What if I told you handing out a $1,000 check every month doesn't make people free? It makes freedom a budget line. That's the sales pitch for a universal basic income. The Austrian answer, short, ugly, and based on the same tools we use to read every policy: property, prices, incentives, and knowledge. UBI sounds great on a placard. No poverty, more freedom. But ideas that sound neat on placards often crumble when you ask simple questions. Who pays, and what signals get destroyed when money flows from coercion instead of exchange? Welcome back to Bear Economics. Thank you for watching. Let's get right into it. UBI is financed by taxes, collected by the state through coercion, then redistributed as freedom. That's a contradiction. If freedom depends on taking other people's earnings by force and handing them a standardized check, what kind of freedom is that? As Rothbard put it bluntly, the state is a gang of thieves writ large. Economics begins with scarcity and opportunity cost. Give everyone money regardless of what they produce, and you change the prices people face. Price of leisure goes down, price of labor goes up, only if wages rise to compete with UBI. That shifts incentives, sometimes subtly, often predictably, and can reduce the supply of labor and entrepreneurship where the economy needs it most. Austrian economics warns, subsidize an outcome and you will get more of that outcome, for better or worse. For a critique that follows this logic, I encourage you to see the Mises Institute analysis of UBI's effects on production and incentives. Markets aren't just barges of cash. Prices encode dispersed knowledge about wants, scarcities, and trade-offs. A central uniform payment ignores local needs, local wages, and the local cost of living. Mises argued that the only planning that secures freedom and general welfare is letting the market process work, because only market prices coordinate the countless decisions of millions. A program that replaces those signals with a one-size-fits-all check disrupts information flows that guide production. There is no other planning for freedom and general welfare than to let the market system work. UBI isn't just a thought experiment you can just wave away with good intentions. The gross price tag for a meaningful UBI runs in the trillions in large economies, and the net cost depends on what you cut and how you raise revenue. The arithmetic matters because the choices to fund a UBI, higher taxes, or money creation, each carry their own costs: slower growth, misallocated labor, or inflationary pressure that erodes savings. Some pilots show short-term welfare gain. Cash transfers can reduce extreme hardships and even spark some small businesses in poor communities. But evidence also shows that when transfers are unconditional and long-term, the aggregate effects on labor supply and productivity vary, and context matters. If we're serious about reducing poverty without wrecking price signals, the policy conversation should on targeted reforms that preserve market incentives and minimize coercive redistribution. UBI is attractive because it promises a tidy fix for messy social problems. But Austrian logic asks two things before we hand out tidy fixes: a check on who pays, and a hard look at what information and incentives we're destroying to make the check possible. If you want less poverty and more freedom, start by cutting the bureaucracy that misallocates resources, reforming welfare so it doesn't trap people at the margin, and protecting property and sound money so voluntary exchange can do what it does best. Welfare bought with other people's earnings is not liberation. It's a redistribution of power. If liberty matters, the solution shouldn't disguise coercion as compassion. Thank you for watching Bear Economics. If you found this interesting, hit like, subscribe, and drop a question in the comments, and I'll see you in the next episode.